Alright, so it is Monday, good times. I had an awesome time working, and now I have some badass content for you. You guys saw the first video, which is talking about, our teleseminars and stuff like that. Here's where the content begins, and here's where you can just start learning, and that is my goal, guys. So this one is actually on proper ways to convey an identity, kind of breaking down some of the myths and barriers that have been put up by us in the community, in which I'm trying to change for you. So enjoy, watch the video, and we'll talk later.
Oh, all right, so let's get into the meat of this stuff. Let's dive in head first, just how you like it. so let's go over one of the big myths, or some of the big myths in the community, in the seduction community. The biggest one that stands out for me is probably that you have to be something different than yourself, that you have to change your identity, you have to have a sexy and seductive identity. This, I think, is absolutely false and absolute wrong message. Now, there's no doubt that somebody who's a rock star, there's somebody who's an actor, or all those things, that has different value within our society. That's great. But just as I explained before, and just as I'll explain to you in the upcoming teleseminars, and just how it will work and customize these things, and really get in there and bring out the best parts of yourself, it doesn't matter what your identity is. You shouldn't change your identity for somebody else, and that's absolutely sending the wrong personal message to anybody. I think it's a terrible idea. I think it's terrible that, you would not bring up things like your family, things of, coming from a broken home, or not bring up, or to hide those things and keep them away from people, and actually tell the opposite, or tell something not true about yourself in order to attract people in your life. It's not normal. That's, pretty bad. In any case, what's interesting about this is the identity of your true self shown in the right ways. Man, it works better than the bullshit that they would tell you, saying you're an actor or having some sort of social value. That's the big trick. What I mean by that is, and I'll give you some examples of myself. My identity is somebody who I work and I teach in the pickup industry, or the seduction industry, the dating industry, whatever you want to call it. Look, I do it, I love it. I also love to play music, I love to travel, I love women, I love all that stuff. I bring that stuff up. And when I bring that stuff up, and I bring up even my flaws, things about myself, even in the first 2 minutes, and I do it technically, I do it in the right ways. I do it in a way which, seems comfortable, because that's what we're really trying to link, is a sense of comfortability or comfort, rather than a sense of, tension or some sort of falseness or whatever. Is when I do that, it presents an aspect of dominance, and that dominant quality, that honest quality, is really, really important. So, a couple people out there, I'll give you a couple examples. I'll give you a couple examples about myself. Now, with myself, I've had all sorts of issues, with my family, all sorts of a crazy childhood, things that I, felt out of place, things that I felt bad about, things that I felt insecure about, things that I felt sexually insecure about. I will bring that up right away in a set. Why? Because I want all those things that they also probably feel insecure about, which, guess what? Everybody felt bad about stuff growing up. Everybody thought their family was a little bit off. Everybody has insecurities, especially sexual ones, that I want those to be comfortable. Now, some things, since I've always worked in the field of customization and working with guys, so I always get guys saying, what, I grew up and my father passed away, or I grew up, I didn't have a dad. I grew up, my mom was abusive. I grew up and my dad was abusive. I was always a weak kid. I had an older brother, I had a younger brother, whatever. I actually grew up and I had a stuttering problem, whatever it is, that I felt bad about, and I feel insecure when I approach a new person. I feel bad about those things. Those things should all be brought up. But here's a real quick way of how to bring them up. There's going to be much more, actually, in these calls that we're going to go over. That's why, hey man, I'm actually really excited for you guys to be on them, because it's a really cheap and inexpensive way to get insane information. So, the best way to address a flaw and to reframe it in the beginning, I'm talking about right off the opener, or use it as your opener. So you can say, hey, you know what? I got to ask you something. What was their first impression of me? Let's say you're in whatever mid-sentence with them, you're talking about, different cars and different car types and, you know, driving laws in this state and that state, and then you just cut them off. You say, you know what, I gotta ask you this. What was something that you noticed about me right away? All right. Then you're gonna insert your flaw. Let's say your flaw is that you think too much and run out of things to say and get nervous when you meet people. Pretty common thing, right? So what was the first thing you thought of me? Because one of the things is you're just gonna cut them off. So one of the things is that I get really nervous when I meet new people, especially new people that, like, you know, I kind of think are cool or whatever. I mean, I barely know you, but I think you're cool. But one of the things is I get, like, nervous. I forget what to say, and I always, like, fucking embarrass myself. But you know what? I bet you can totally relate with that. I bet you can totally relate with, like, what that's like. In any case, I can already tell you and I are going to be good friends. All right. What happened there is pretty fucking awesome, and it took you less than 30 seconds. What was your first impression of me? Or what did you first notice about me? Before they answer it, you define it for them with whatever your flaw is. Then you bond it to them, make them understand it, all right? You say, look, you know, I bet you can understand what that's like. You probably have things that you're insecure about too. And then you redefine it. Interesting. Redefine it. You say, you know what? I bet, fuck man, I bet we're going to be pretty good friends. You can totally relate with that. Live with your identity. Again, guys, you want to find more of these things? We're going to be going over them on those 2 conference calls. Click down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, go to theredmole.com and sign up there.
All right. Hey, so it's that easy. Simple as that. Again, I'm making this as accessible as possible so that you can actually learn these things from simply watching these videos. There's hopefully enough content for you to build that stuff out of. If you want to go a little step further, you know, sign up down below. If you're on my blog, you know, the teleseminar should be right down below. If you're on YouTube or some other page, just click on it and find the links to theredmole.com and you'll be able to find it. The main thing is, though, man, is that, look, we need to start learning to take out all the weirdness of it. Be yourself. And with the techniques I show you and these methods, you know, it's not just me that it works for everybody. That you can actually build bonds with people by being yourself and have a congruent identity, have an identity that you have and just the proper ways of showing it and presenting it. And have it be so strong that it attracts the right people in your life, all right? So we can stop doing all these, like, crazy routines, and, you know, that are manipulative and, like, really sociopathic on that level, you know? So I'll also say that's part of the instructor's fault, and that's why I'm trying to change it for you. In any case, let's stay in tune, because in a couple days there's going to be another one, which is going to be on opening, how to customize that exactly towards you.